Now 24 hours out from what is officially the deadliest mass shooting in the history of the U.S. Officials and communities across the country now in the process of figuring out how to best implement vigilance following these attacks. And we're now joined by Dr. Leah Regans, who is the director of OU Center for Intelligence and National Security. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you very much, Steve and Marky. It's a pleasure to be with you on this tragic day.
Yeah, so looking at this attack, it almost seems like what I would call a hybrid attack. We have terrorism, elements of hate crime, and also a mass shooting all wrapped into one. Is this terrorism in the U.S. evolving?
Well, it's actually continuity of terrorism we've experienced before. If you think about San Bernardino, if you think about what occurred at Fort Hood, if you think about some of the failed attempts like the Times Square bombing, or if you think about the tragedy in Boston. So certainly it's an evolution of terrorism, but there's also continuity in the sense that it's motivated by a really perverse ideology. You have hatred directed towards the LGBT community, so it's really a nexus.
And I think a lot of times after something like this happens, a lot of officials, a lot of communities fear copycat attacks. Is that something that we could see here in Oklahoma? Is that something you fear?
Do I fear it? No, in the sense of Oklahoma City specifically. On the other hand, certainly we've seen copycat events in the past, and I think the real problem is you're looking at something that was, if there's an obvious case of something that was ISIS inspired, this is it. I mean, if you think about it, Omar Mateen interrupted his slaughter of those helpless victims to call 911 to say, I'm inspired by ISIS, I'm pledging my allegiance. In many ways, those are the hardest to attack, where you have a single individual. It's really a conspiracy of one, inspired by the ideology. Too early to say it was directed, and in fact, it'll be a long time before we know the answer to that, but it underscores how hard it is to stop it, where he was a U.S. citizen, he legally obtained the firearms, he had licenses both as a security guard and his firearms license, and no prior either felony convictions, which would have prevented him from buying a firearm, or a history of mental health or a restraining order for domestic abuse.
So Doctor, here's the thing is that we know from reports that the FBI had interviewed him 2 or 3 times, so there had been suspicions. What would those interviews have either picked up on to begin with? Why would he be on the radar? And then what would they have focused on during those interviews?
All right, well, the interviews specifically, and bearing in mind that I'm speaking to simply what's been reported generally, nothing that I'm privy to that's inside FBI reports. I don't want to conflate that at all, but if you think about it, if somebody reports that a colleague or a coworker or a neighbor is, making threatening statements, saying that he or she is agreeing with what ISIS or any other terrorist group is doing, Marky, and Steve, then the FBI is going to look into it. Law enforcement is going to investigate it. But if there isn't, in fact, evidence to demonstrate that you've engaged in behavior, that's the key. It's the difference between what you can say, what you can think, we do have the First Amendment, and what you can do, okay? And he never crossed that line. In fact, that's one of the reasons why frequently you see efforts by the FBI and other law enforcement authorities in the U.S. To meet with these individuals and to see if they're willing to take those steps, okay? If they're willing to say, sure, I'll join with you. That never happened. Okay?
Using undercover agents, for instance, you mean?
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. And in that case, there was nothing that he did that led the FBI, following all the rules, all the procedures, to in fact go any further than an investigation, because his acts didn't cross the line.
So you don't think the FBI, no officials dropped the ball?
No, I don't think.
In the past few years?
I don't think they dropped the ball. I mean, it underscores the same thing happened, for example, with the older Tsarnaev brother, right? There was an investigation, there were reports, but until, unfortunately, those brothers did what they did in Boston, or until Mateen did what he did in Orlando, all right, what he had done didn't cross the line. And so that's why the FBI, ultimately did what it did, followed all the rules, followed all the procedures, but we're talking about criminal activity, right? Criminal investigations. No different than if someone accused you of something, right, that you said X, Y, Z. Well, all right, you may say very offensive, very hateful things, but if your behavior doesn't do it as well, then law enforcement can only do so much.
Does it stand out to you that he was interviewed multiple times, or is that pretty standard in these kinds of investigations?
He was interviewed multiple times because there were two different incidents, is my understanding. The first was co-workers said that he was making statements where he supported things ISIS was doing, or was agreeing with things that ISIS was doing, agreeing with things Al Qaeda was doing. The FBI investigated and ultimately concluded that, for want of a better phrase, he was just mouthing off. Okay, not unlike perhaps someone who's a drunk in a bar or whatever. And I'm not trivializing it, but
Sure.
the point is, he was talking about things, but he wasn't doing things. Okay. All right. The second investigation, which was a separate investigation, was looking into how close a relationship he had with an American citizen who went to Syria and was a suicide bomber. And once again, they concluded. But if you think about it, Syria is a totally lawless state. It's in the midst of a civil war. So there's a limit to how much information we're going to be able to get about what's going on or not going on in a place like Syria. All right. So within what was available, the FBI did what it could do. But it really underscores, once again, Marky, as you said, and Steve, as you pointed out, the real problem you have when you have a single individual or even a few individuals who are inspired by a group, but there's no record of them traveling overseas for training, and you see, well, they embrace this hateful ideology. They really take it on, but until they act, and that's the problem. Can you catch them before they act, working within the laws of the U.S.? And it's a really tough task. That's probably the hardest problem we have domestically with terrorism.